Hello, Daniel Yuck here. Thank you for tuning in today. I appreciate you. In today's video, I want to take some time and I want to share a little bit of my thought process and approach on why and how I use ghost lines within my tattoos. Should you have any questions at any point throughout this video, I'm going to highly encourage you to drop a comment down below. I will do my absolute best to assist you in the best possible direction. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and ring that bell for me, as I will be bringing more videos like this for you all. If you enjoy my channel and find my content helpful, consider becoming a Patreon or sending over a super thanks, as I would greatly appreciate your support. With that being said, let's dive straight on into this. Let's start with what ghost lines are. Now, ghost lines are very faint, thin, light lines that a tattoo artist would use to help them guide their way throughout a tattoo session. Let's say a tattoo artist is doing a big back piece and the tattoo client may not sit through the entire thing. Well, what a tattoo artist will tend to do is use thin, light lines and kind of outline the entire tattoo, so that way the next time the client comes back in, they know exactly where they can begin. Another practical scenario when ghost lines could be used is when a tattoo artist is losing their stencil. They can simply line it with very light, faint lines and kind of navigate throughout the tattoo that way as well. I feel like the sole purpose of ghost lining is to act as the new stencil, so that way we don't have to worry about either losing the stencil or if again the tattoo session has to be broken down into multiple sessions. That's another practical reason why we would want to choose ghost lining. However, the sole purpose of ghost lining though is to act as a new updated tattoo stencil. One thing that I feel is important to know and remember when we are ghost lining is that when we are done with the tattoo, we shouldn't be able to tell that we ever implemented any ghost lines to begin with. So what that means is when we have the final read on the tattoo, the lines that we're doing here shouldn't be prominent. We shouldn't be able to tell in the final read of the tattoo that any ghost lines were used throughout the process. I look at ghost lines as barriers and guides to help me complete my tattoo. One thing that I feel is important to note is ghost lining is not for every single style of tattooing. So let's say we're going to be doing tattooing that requires, let's say, more shading and less line dominant style of tattooing, then ghost lining could be more acceptable. But if we're going to be doing line dominant tattooing like mandalas or traditional, then ghost lining is not going to be something that we would want to do. Ghost lining does cause damage to the skin. However, if executed correctly, then it should just be minimal. We are using small 3-round liners. Some may use a 5-round liner, but the idea is to use a very thin line weight with a diluted tattoo ink, whether it's dynamic black gray wash 20%. You're going to want to use a lighter gray wash tone and line the lines with the lightest gray wash that you have and the smallest needle configuration that you can comfortably use. I'm ghost lining. I don't really go for a nice, consistent, solid, saturated line. What I'm doing is I'm basically, again, creating those barriers and boundaries in which I know where the tattoo is going to flow. I know how these petals make up the entire reed of the rose. I know how to do this rose. For this specific tattoo right here, you can see that I was losing the stencil up top, so I felt if I just went ahead and I lined this entire stencil with some small, thin ghost lines, I can take my time with it and I can simply shade the rose as I want without having to worry about the stencil the entire way. In this video, I'm referring to these sort of lines as ghost lines. However, you may hear some artists refer to them as bloodlines. For this specific rose right here, you can see that the stencil is lightening up on me. So rather than worry about the stencil the entire way, I can simply do some really light lines using the dynamic gray wash, pre-made gray wash set that's at 20%. So I'm doing 20% dynamic gray wash lines here on this stencil. And again, that's going to be artistic choice. I felt like the workflow for this rose would be a lot more smooth and easier if I simply created these blood ghost lines, so that way I can have a foundation for the tattoo. I also want to keep in mind that this rose style right here is not a line dominant style of tattoo. What that means is this specific design, this rose right here, requires more shading than it does lining. So I'm going to be using layers and build-ups to get different tones and transitions throughout this entire rose here. So the idea here is, again, I'm making really light lines. I'm using an Inkclaw bug pen 3-round liner with the dynamic 20% gray wash pre-made set, and I'm creating the foundation and the barriers for the specific rose. When it comes to ghost lining, the last thing that we're going to want to do is approach this like we would lining a, say, mandala tattoo. Ghost or blood lining is just simple lining here that's not meant to be pronounced. It's not meant to be seen. It's not meant to be defined. For these ghost lines, I'm using an Inkclaw More Money direct rotary tattoo machine with the Inkclaw Grip for cartridges, and I'm also running at 4 volts even. So when I combine a light needle depth with a diluted tattooing ink and a low voltage, I'm able to pull these nice delicate lines that act again as those guides and those barriers to help me throughout my tattoo. So when I'm done ghost lining, this is what the rose looks like. These are the lines that I am now working with. These are the barriers and the foundation in which I'm going to finish and create this entire tattoo from. From here, I can comfortably add different shadings in different areas. I can add different tones. I can go over the skin a few times and get the layering just right as I want, and without having to worry about losing the stencil because I've already lightly ghost lined, bloodlined this entire rose right here. From here, you can see that these ghost lines that I implemented in this rose are now again acting as those barriers and foundations to let me know where I need to put some of the darker areas and where the lighter areas need to go. What I'm doing is I'm just simply literally building off of these ghost lines that we implemented, and when I start doing this, this is the part where these lines start disappearing. When I'm done, you'll be able to see that there's no more visible lines the way that we see them right now. I will talk about my shading technique in another video, so be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for me for more videos like this. For this video, I want to stick to ghost lining and the purpose that they serve, and I want to let you see the results. Throughout this entire process, I'm extremely comfortable with the approach that I'm going with. I'm extremely comfortable working off of the ghost lines. So this is something that we may need to work into and develop over time. And a way to do that, we can use ballpoint pen cartridges. I do have videos and reviews on those, so you can check those out on my YouTube channel. I will also link some below for you so you can check out the ballpoint cartridges on your end. They're really great for practicing this sort of shading and as well as shading placement. However, with the ghost lining, you can see right here that we have the ghost lines, and from them I am building off and putting the lighter areas and the darker areas all in, and I'm getting this rose completed here. And I'm going to repeat this shading process throughout the entire tattoo until I've completed it, and here are the final results. You can see all of the prominent lines that we were looking at here a little while ago earlier in this video are no longer there, and they're hardly visible. There are certain areas where there are a little bit of lines existing, but however, artistically I feel like the remaining lines complement and add to the design as opposed to take away and act as a line. What that means is whenever I read this tattoo, I don't read line dominant. I see more shading than I do lining, and that was the desired effect. That is what I was going for. That'll be it for this one. That is how I go about using ghost lines within my tattooing process. Should you have any questions at all about anything that you saw throughout this video, I'm going to encourage you to drop a comment down below. I will do my absolute best to assist you in the best possible direction. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and ring that bell for me, as I will be bringing more videos like this for you all. I do have social medias under the same name as this YouTube channel. I have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. I would truly appreciate the support over there as well, all under Daniel Yuck. If you enjoy my channel and find my content helpful, consider becoming a Patreon or sending over a super thanks, as I would truly appreciate your support. With that being said, thank you for your time. I appreciate you tuning in. You have a great day.